How's it going, guys? This is Luke from Coffee House, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a, overview how we do on one of the products that we have in our store. Something that I'm really fond of, and something that I think has paved the way for something that is going to be really huge in the future. As people tend to care more and more about their water for coffee and just, I guess, for general purpose use, products like this start to exist. And so what we're going to be looking over today are the third wave water packets. Many of you may have seen it on Shark Tank originally, or you may have just seen it, through your specialty coffee experience and endeavors. These are really interesting. What they are mineral packets to add to your water. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and purchase a gallon of distilled water or get a gallon of reverse osmosis water. And you're going to take this little packet and just pour it in. And each one comes with 12 individual sticks in here. So you can obviously make 12 gallons of water. I think for Europe and other places that use metric, they have metric packets as well, which is nice. But yeah, they basically come in three different optimizations. The classic, which is, if from our experience, like a medium roast or maybe even a light roast a little bit. There's the espresso profile, which is specific for espresso. And then there is the dark roast profile as well, which is for dark roast coffee. And, something I really enjoy about this is for cafes originally, the RO and filtration system were so important for good tasting coffee. And cafes will spend $10,000, $20,000 on really legit setups for their water. And to be able to do something like this that essentially replicates what they're doing at the cafe level at home, I think is really important. And for me, I think when I'm brewing coffee at home, my goal is to best replicate what a commercial experience is like. I think a lot of us can resonate with the idea that we want to have cafe level coffee at home. And this, I would say, is the most cost-effective way to make the largest step forward in your coffee brewing experience in terms of quality, because these are $17 for a pack, so $1.50 a unit, I would imagine. And for that price, you get a gallon of water, and where your coffee is 98% water, these are really, really important. I mean, it's just a great little thing to be able to compare directly how your coffee tastes with your regular tap water, your Brita filter, and then something like this, because I think this is something that we're going to want to talk about. And as we go on, we're going to talk a lot more about water treatment and water filtration and how that kind of like comes into play. But I mean, let's look at it kind of like in this way. It's like, let's look at the Brita filter, for example. The Brita filter and all other filters, what they're doing is they're stripping water of specific minerals or specific amounts of minerals, as well as contaminations like sediment and things like that. And what we're doing here, though, is we're adding to our water. So in a reverse osmosis system, to kind of like dumb it down, is essentially what you're doing is you're stripping the water of all of its mineralization and then blending back the optimal, blend. And so when they ask you to use something like distilled water or reverse osmosis water, what you're doing is you're essentially starting with a blank slate. So when you add something like this, essentially what they're telling you is this is the optimal amount of mineralization that will work with your coffee. And so what you get at the end of the day is, let's say you're brewing with tap water, for example, your coffee may taste a bit more muted, a bit more flat, and ultimately, there might be some variance there. What you're doing here is you're controlling a variable, which I think is really important at the end of the day. Water changes at the city level with the seasons, everything like that. But if you're buying the same brand of distilled water or getting reverse osmosis water from the same source, you may be able to get a way more consistent product with something like this, which I really enjoy. Secondly is, let's say you have this flat, boring coffee at the end of the day. What these are going to do is it's going to wake up a lot of those more intricate flavors. So you're going to get a little bit more brightness, acidity, a little bit more fruit-forward notes, things like that you may not have originally found in your coffee. So, I really stand behind products like these. There are a number of different, competitors in this marketplace. But for me, I haven't found something that quite mimics the ease of use for something like this. But for me, I think as we kind of move forward, we've been even diving a little into this and working on launching our own product like this, something that essentially builds our own optimal water, something that we believe in here, something we taste here and want to replicate for the home buyer. And so we've been working on it in a little bit different of a format, which we'll talk about later. Maybe a little bit more towards like kind of like our home treatment videos and things like that. But to me, right now, at this specific moment, there isn't a product that quite beats them out. What I love about them is, even though they're like a Shark Tank product at the end of the day, they haven't changed what they were originally. These are what they were when they pitched them on the show. And they've just kind of like maintained, ease of use, really convenient, really low cost. And ultimately, it's a simple product that makes a lot of sense for coffee enthusiasts and those who are involved in, drinking good water. There's still, to me, if I'm drinking like water for consumption, I'm still drinking, spring water or waters like that. From a taste perspective, I think that's better for just plain water. But for this, with your coffee, the TDS for spring water is usually too high to brew with coffee. It's just not going to taste as best as it could. Same thing with espresso. What we do is we actually even split these in two for espresso. So if you have a Linea Mini, for example, or any other reservoir espresso machine, splitting this in half will yield you the correct TDS to brew espresso with, which I really enjoy. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, these are really amazing products. I fully stand behind them, and I still think there's nothing quite like it. And for me, I think this is an absolute must-have. For $1.50 extra, for a gallon of water, I think there's really no mistakes to be made here. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, maybe you have the enjoyment for that kind of like, more muted coffee experience, which is totally okay. But that said, let's move these out of the way. Let's brew 2 cups of coffee with tap water and with the third wave water. And I'll just give you some kind of like, some feedback, and then we'll close it up. But I wanted to just do kind of a bit more of an overview on these and, tell you what I think. All right, so what we have here are 2 cups of coffee, one that we brewed with tap water and one that we brewed with third wave water. Don't know which one is which, but I'm pretty sure, that I'll be able to pick it out pretty quickly which one's which. That said, I did the same variables for both. I did 30 grams in, 450 grams out, same grind size, same water temperature, everything like that, same coffee. The only variable being the water quality. And so what I'm going to go ahead here and do is taste these 2 coffees, give you some feedback on which one's which, and go from there. So this is coffee A on this side. And so what I'm getting out of this coffee is it's got a nice body to it, no doubt. But it does have a bit of, roastiness, kind of like almost like a flatness. And I'm already off the bat assuming that this is going to be the third wave water one, but let's give it another try here. Yeah, so the same thing. What I'm getting out of this coffee is nothing particularly bad. I'm not getting astringency or anything like that. But what I am getting is, the flavors are not fully rounded, fully developed. Whereas this one, which we haven't tried yet, I'm going to imagine is the third wave one. So let's go ahead and try that. So on the nose even, you are getting a little bit more cinnamon and a little bit more kind of like a tropical on there, so which is really nice actually. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I encourage everybody to try this experiment. Just how night and day it is. With your coffee being almost fully water, this is a really important experiment to understand. And, I would, like I said, encourage everybody to do this. But right off the bat, I'm getting tropical notes in here that I'm not getting here. I'm getting a brightness, I'm getting an acidity. And all of those kind of like flat notes that were in there originally are nicely well-rounded and balanced at the end of the day. That said, obviously having a home system where you could do kind of like this RO and blending would be your closest bet to getting down to like the cafe level of quality. But, this is a great solution to someone who's not quite willing to spend that kind of money yet or spend that kind of time delving into like what makes sense for a residential solution. That said, I mean, $17 or so, depending on where you find it, everything like that, is a great price for something that can so drastically change your coffee experience at the end of the day. That said, I think that's everything for me. Shop these online. We have them on our website. Very cool, and we ship for free, which I really like also. We ship everything for free on the website, by the way. That's like our thing, So yeah, at the end of the day, I really love this product. I haven't quite found a solution yet that's better to replace it, but obviously you guys will hear about it when I do find that solution or when we come out with our own. So again, thank you for tuning in. I'm Luke from Coffee House, and we'll see you next time. Today, we're going to be going over the third wave. Oh, now I got the giggles.